Okay, just gotta make sure my camera is set up. I think that's good. Okay, welcome. I'm Sixes, your host, and today we're gonna be talking about forgiveness from the Bible. So, let's start with the scripture from Matthew chapter 18, verse 21 through 22, if you want to follow. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times. Jesus saith unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Alright, so first thing we want to learn is forgiveness is key, right? Forgiveness in yourself, forgiveness between others, anything you hold a grudge on, whether it be yourself or somebody else. Forgiveness is the key to moving forward, because you don't want to harbor anger, hatred within yourself, because I think it was Buddha that said that having anger inside you is like having a fire when you want the other person to get burned, when really it's you getting burned, right? Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the number 7 and why it's important. So let me show you why. So we take, so it says 70 times 7, right? 7 is important right here, but then we add this up, equals 490. We're going to come back to this later at the end or in between. We'll see how it goes. And you're probably saying, well, what's the significance of the number 7 in the Bible, right? And I'm going to show you exactly what it is. So, I'm going to draw for you folks the tree of life, or the tree of death, whatever you want to call it, but we'll explain to that. So we have one circle here, one circle here, one circle here, and we put another right here, another right here, and then one right here. Okay, so right here we have the tree of life, tree of death, tree of knowledge of good and evil. It's all in one, correct? So we have the right pillar right here, R for right, and left for left pillar, right? So in Kabbalism, the right tree signifies the tree of good, which is called Citra de Kedusha, and it's spelled like this. Forgive me for my handwriting, it's really Citra de Kedusha, right? And that signifies tree of life. And then right here, tree of evil is called Citra Aura. Now the middle pillar is called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And I tried looking up some terms, but there are a lot of Kabbalists that argue that the tree of good is itself the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So then, back to the number 7, correct? And I'll write down the names of the Sephiroths and yada yada. So, why is 7 important? Well, the reason why 7 is important is because there are exactly 7 chakras. So we have one right here. I'm going to draw the chakras for X. That way you guys don't get confused. So we have X right here. That's 1. And then we have 2, 3. Let's put it right here. 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's see if I got this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we have 7 chakras going in comparison and equal to 7 times that Peter says. How many times, right? 7 times. As the scripture says. Yeah, till 7 times. Okay. So, another thing we have to know is forgiveness is, of course, the key part. But to make this even deeper, if we look at the scripture, oh, and this is my first video, so bear with me here. Okay, so we're going to go to Luke chapter 23, verses 39 to 43. And one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, If thou be Christ, save thyself and us. But the other answered and rebuked him, saying, Thou dost not fear God, seeing thou art in the same condemnation. And we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds. But this man had done nothing wrong. Has done nothing amiss. And he had said unto Jesus, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. And Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise. Okay. So, like I said, the tree of death corresponds to the left side, and the tree of good corresponds to the right side. Now, if we look at the scripture, the thief that mocked Jesus was right here on the left side, and that corresponds to the left side of the brain. Right? And then the guy on the right was the one that recognized Jesus' omnipotence or his mission, right? So that corresponds to the right brain. Right? So thief on the left corresponds to the left brain, and the thief on the right corresponds to the right brain. Correct? So then we go to the next scripture, right? So it would be right here. So let's go to Hebrews chapter 9, verses here we go. Chapter 9, verse 12. Neither by the blood of goats or cows, but by his own blood, he entered in once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. So you have to recognize that Jesus is actually a metaphor for the pineal gland. And you're probably saying, no, that's from the devil. We don't believe in that, yada, 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 yada. But see, if you check in Matthew chapter 6, verse 22, it says, The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. That corresponds to the pineal gland, right? So, where's my pen? Oh, here we go. So the pineal gland is right here in the middle, right? We'll just put PG for pineal gland. And this is the right brain and the left brain. The left brain corresponds to the pituitary gland, and the right brain corresponds to the pineal gland, and in the middle is both of them joined together, which means all together, right? So then we have, I'm going to name all the sephirots. So this is Keter, this is Hokmah, meaning wisdom and understanding. Binah means understanding. Gevurah, right here. Hesod, Netzach, Had, Yesod, and Malkuth, which is the material realm or the root chakra, correct? So then, just to name the X's, which is the chakra, we have the crown, right here, C for C. The third eye, which is right here in the middle, which is called the Ajna chakra, which is in between the left brain and the right brain, because the pineal gland is right in the center, correct? So then we go to Yeah, so we have crown, third eye, and then we have the X for, the X for the throat chakra. The heart chakra is right here for Tiferet. The solar plexus for, right here. Solar plexus, right here. Forgive me. Solar plexus, that's the next chakra, and then we have the sacral chakra, which is right here, which corresponds to Yesod. I think that's one I didn't name. And then we have the final one, which is root chakra, which corresponds to Malkuth. And I'll put right here. Malkuth. Alright? So then, the most important part of this whole lecture would be the significance of the blood, right? And what is the true significance of the blood? Well, essentially, it's forgiveness itself. That's the primary purpose of Jesus, right? Which is, God sent His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is the key. Forgiveness is what allows us to move forward. It's what allows you and me to move forward. Because if we don't cleanse ourselves of what we have inside, it's going to eat us apart. Correct? And now we're going to get to the most interesting parts. So I'm going to write down parts of all of these so that you can see what I'm talking about. Yep. Meaning I'm going to name the chakras. Or just write everything down. I'll keep down right there. Take this right here. And I'll just take this one out. Okay. Yeah, okay. So then we have Hokmah, Binah, Hesed, Geburah, Had, Netzach, which also means eternity. And we have Yesod right here. Alright? So we have the 7 chakras. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? So 7 chakras. And the primary teaching of forgiveness is that what Jesus is trying to say is, He's not trying to say that you need to exactly forgive a person 497 times. I mean, not 97. 490 times, excuse me. What he's trying to say is that it doesn't matter how many times, just what's most important is to forgive. Because remember, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We all have our problems, even me, myself, right? So we have to understand that forgiveness is the whole key of everything. Especially within yourself, like I said, if you want to move forward in life. You can't move forward if you're carrying weight inside you that's going to drag you down, if that makes sense. And as we go, it says 70, right? So 70 is equal to 7 times 10. 7 chakras and 10 sephiroths. Let's put S, yeah. That way you guys know. So that's Sephiroth, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I just want to make sure, but I'm not really too good at math, but yeah, so we have the 7 chakras and the 10 Sephiroth, right? So that multiplies, right? So that equals 490. And like I said, the true essence of the blood of Christ is forgiveness. And you're saying, well, why do you say that? Because if you look up in Gematria what 490 equals, it equals this. Christ Father, and also Christ. I want to make sure you guys see this. Bloodline. Blood. See how it matches? 7 chakras. And then times 10, which is the Sephiroth, equals 490, which then equals to the I can't remember the correct word. The conclusion and proof of the scriptures and what Christ saying, I and the Father are one, because Christ is in the middle, correct? He is the tree of good itself. And once you know that knowledge, once you learn how to forgive yourself from the carnal mind and move on to the higher power, which is the right brain, then you're going to be able to know more of yourself, to move forward, and to let go of that old mentality of putting yourself down, because all that comes from the tree of death, correct? Which is, like I said, Citra Aura, which is all the negative stuff, the lower mind, yada yada yada, and then you go, you transmute that energy to the right side. That's the right brain. That's the tree of good, tree of life. And there's some people that argue that the tree of life is itself the tree of knowledge of good and evils, but that's a whole different other story that I'll probably get to. So yeah, so we have the right brain and the left brain. The thief on the left, the one that cursed Christ, and the thief on the right that recognized his supremacy. And Christ said, and to him, you shall be with me in paradise. Because that's a metaphor for saying that when you forgive yourself, you're allowing yourself to go from the carnal mind into the higher man, which is the right brain. And in the Old Testament, when God says to give your tithes, which is 10%, he's saying, give me 10% of the left brain. And he will multiply that so you can go right here. I'm just gonna put 1,000 just to prove to you how much God can amplify your forgiveness in between yourself. So yeah, so the thief on the cross and the thief on the right, the one that recognizes his supremacy and the one that did not recognize his supremacy. Right? So now we're gonna get a little bit deeper. So the Qabbalah states that the human soul has 3 elements, right? So this is the first one, which corresponds to Nefesh. Oh, whoops, I'm sorry. Actually, I forgot I'm reading this from up to bottom, not top to down. So we're going to start with... So this is part 1. This is the first one. This is Neshama. Right? And this is known as the higher soul. Right? Neshama, higher soul. And like I said, forgive me my handwriting. Or also called super soul. And that corresponds to... The super soul corresponds to the brain. Remember, third eye in the middle. And in between the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere of the brain. And the three Sephiroths that corresponds to that is Binah, Hokmah, and Doth, which is right here in the middle, which I forgot to explain. And there are a lot of Kabbalists that say that Doth itself is not actually a real Sephiroth. It's just a representation of what's missing from the tree when it fell in Genesis. But like I said, that's a whole other thing. And then we have... So we have the Neshama, which corresponds to the higher soul and the super soul. And it says right here, the higher soul or super soul. This separates man from all other life forms. It is related to the intellect and allows man to enjoy and benefit from the afterlife. It allows one to have some awareness of the existence and presence of God. So that's the brain, right? Left brain, right brain. It's already going, pieces are coming together. And then we have the middle part, which is right here, which is called Ruach. Which corresponds to the middle soul. Right? And also... the spirit, correct? And it says right here, Ruach, the middle soul, the spirit, it contains the moral virtues and the ability to distinguish between good and evil, the heart. Because in the heart, that's where the tree of death and the tree of good meet together. And that's where you decide what you want to do. If you want to do something good, if you want to do something bad. To each his own, right? And Ruach corresponds to the Sephiroths of Qabbalah, Hesad, and Tiferet. What's for T for Tiferet, right? And that corresponds to the throat chakra. Oh, right here, my bad. The throat chakra and the solar plexus chakra, which is Tiferet, because Tiferet represents the sun, and in Qliphoth, it represents the Girion, which is the black sun. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh no, that's part of Nazi stuff." No. The Nazis took Sol Nagir from alchemy and converted it into their own stuff. So yeah, but if you want to look that up, just look up alchemy, Sol Nagir, Niger. Don't think I said the other word. So yeah, but that's alchemy. Look that up on your own time if you're interested. All right, and then we have. So then we have Ruach, which corresponds to the tree of good and, between good and evil, and then we have the last one. And if you're still here, and if you're still watching this, thank you again. You guys have no idea, because like I said, I'm here to help you guys, but more importantly, we're all here to help out each other. No one's the same or above. We're all different, but we're all the same. If that makes sense. All right, and then we have the last one, which is Nefesh. And that corresponds to the lower part. The lower part, or animal part. You could say animal nature, correct? And the lower part corresponds to the sacral chakra, which is Yesod, and the solar plexus chakra, which is Tiferet. And I think I made a mistake about the second Ruach. So if anything, Ruach corresponds to the throat chakra, which is right here, and the heart chakra, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is right here, heart. Oh, actually no, right here. Yeah, the solar plexus chakra would be right here. Sometimes it gets confusing, so you gotta be careful about how you deal with this stuff. So yeah, solar plexus chakra right here. Yeah, so just put Tiferet right here and then put solar. So solar chakra and sacral chakra. This is Nefesh, right? Which is right here. In fact, so we don't get confused, and I just leave it right here, I'm just going to put it right here. So we have, let's put 1 for Neshama, which corresponds to Hokmah, Binah, and Doth. And then we have Ruach, which is the middle. That corresponds to Qabbalah, Hesad, and Tiferet, which is right here. And then we have the last one, which is Nefesh, the lower part. And again, that corresponds to Hod, right here, Netzach, and Esau. I'll just write it right here, just so we can keep track. Hod, Netzach, and Esau. And if you're having trouble keeping up, you can just go on Google, type in tree of knowledge, tree of good and evil, tree of death, Qabbalah tree, and you can read this with me while you watch this. That way we can keep on track if it's too much to keep up with, because sometimes it does get confusing. You guys don't get confused, but but hey, we're catching up. We're moving on together. So we have the 3 elements of the soul. 3. I guess I am a spiritual doctor because my handwriting is terrible. 3 elements of soul. And we're gonna label them the parts to the body, correct? So we have neshama, which corresponds to brain. Ruach, which corresponds to heart. And nefesh, which corresponds to, you guys can't believe this one, liver. Because when you have that gut feeling, you're getting that gut feeling from this guy right here, the liver. Because you feel it down here. Because according to Hindus, they say that the chakras are located within our intestines, and it's true because we get our chakras from the human body. If we didn't get our chakras from the human body, all this wouldn't make sense. So it all has to tie together, correct? So we have the liver, which corresponds to nefesh, the lower part or animal mind, ruach, heart and soul, spirit, and then neshama, which corresponds to the brain. And you're probably saying, but isn't the spirit supposed to submit to the brain first? No, because if anything, the spirit doesn't decide for you. You decide what you're going to do in your spirit, and then through your brain, you're going to cause that action to happen. So the heart submits to the brain, not the brain submits to the spirit or heart. Correct? So then, I want to share with you another scripture. And of course, I already quoted in Matthew, I think it was 6:22, I believe. Yeah. So if the light of the body is single, then the whole body shall be filled with light. So you have to merge both of these together. You have to find a way to balance that within yourself. Through forgiveness is probably the easiest way, because I myself, I used to be depressed, but not anymore. We carry that weight within us of guilt. And that's what is connected to the left brain, not to the right brain. Because the right brain is the godly place, if that makes sense. But then it says right here in the second scripture, but if thine eye be filled with evil, thy whole body shall be filled with darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee darkness, how great is that darkness? So right here, if you keep going with the left brain, and you're feeding your liver drugs, alcohol, all that stuff, it's going to affect you guys. What I think the saying goes, you are what you eat. If you feed yourself good spiritual stuff, you tell yourself you love yourself, you forgive, then it's going to come easy. Well, not easy because nothing's easy, but I'm saying easier for you to move forward in life, because you know that we're not all perfect, and we're all trying to move forward. So we have the brain, the heart, and the liver. And then there's the last scripture I want to show you. So we already covered the pineal gland. We already talked about forgiveness. 70, 10 chakras. Not 10 chakras. 10 sephiroth, 7 chakras, multiply equals 490. And of course, like I said, it's not about the number. It's about forgiving as much time as you can. Because like I said, we're not perfect, so the best thing we can do is to understand each other. Because understanding is the beginning of mercy, and mercy is the beginning of understanding. Correct? So then, in fact, there's a scripture right here, if you want to keep up with me, which is on Luke chapter 11, verse 52. Woe unto you, lawyers, for ye have taken away the key of knowledge. Ye entered not in yourselves, and them that were not entered in ye hinder. So the key of knowledge, of course, you gotta meditate, guys. Like, you have to meditate. And there are many ways of meditation. You can say Om, you can do prana breathing, you can do a whole bunch of other stuff. If you want to learn more about meditation, read the Bhagavad Gita, which is the Hindu book, where Lord Krishna talks to Arjuna and then tells him about the whole spirituality, universe, all that stuff into one. Perfectly good book, my favorite, one of my favorites, in fact. So yeah. So, and see, this is the stuff that they don't teach you in church. That's why I just read that scripture saying, "Woe to lawgivers that hinder the key." Because what does Christ say in Revelation? "For I have the keys of death and Hades." But if you don't find the key, you're always going to be looking for the external Christ and not the internal Christ, which is within yourself. See, there's a lot of churches right now talking about the superhero Jesus, saying that he's going to fall from the sky and save everybody. And it's been almost 2,000 years, and we're still waiting. Because Jesus is a metaphorical term for the Messiah within yourself. That's why he says the kingdom of heaven is within you. So yeah. So then, learn to meditate. Don't be afraid of eternal damnation. Because to be honest, guys, eternal damnation isn't you go to hell forever. Eternal damnation, if you really want to put it into terms, is that you get reincarnated endlessly. And of course, you want to escape the reincarnation side, because if you don't escape the reincarnation cycle, technically you're going to suffer every bad possible thing in existence. But that, of course, that's a little far-fetched. But I'm just trying to tell you what hell really is. Is that it's coming into the fallen realm, which is the material realm. And once you get this and you die, hopefully, then you'll escape samsara, which is called in the Buddhism the wheel of life. So yeah, I think we covered everything so far. Hold on, let me see our time. Oh wow, 32. I guess that took a little bit longer than expected, but yeah, like I said, thanks for watching. I think we covered everything so far. Like I said, this is my first video, so please cut me some slack. So yeah, we have the pineal gland, forgiveness, two thieves, and the blood of Christ. And like I said, the blood of Christ is forgiveness itself. That's the main issue. The blood of Christ isn't when you pray and you're drenched in the blood where you're literally untouchable to demons. No, that's not what the blood is. The blood is forgiveness. That's the main intention of Christ. Because in the scripture, when the Roman soldier stabs Jesus, right? He stabs him in the heart chakra. Right? The heart chakra. And what happens? Blood and water flow through. Blood signifying forgiveness and water signifying Jesus as the water of life. And because in Revelation 21:6 says, "And to him I shall give," no, it says, "it is done."